John's temptation in the wilderness. Jesus was both human and divine. Jesus, the man, met with temptations. He wept, he wept, he suffered like any other human being, but he exerted his will supremely to overcome evil and the delusion of his material nature. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. Afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and settleth him on the pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall leave his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Again the devil taketh him into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and he saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then Jesus saith unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Matthew 4 1 to 11. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4 1 to 4. One may be in a state of super consciousness by virtue of his sadhana or by deep meditation, but he is subjected to temptations of cosmic delusion or maya. This is due to past life experiences of maya. One has to get rid of past and postnatal sensory experiences. While Jesus was engaged in the divine bliss contact, he was tempted of Satan and was with the wild beasts. Mark 1 to 1:13. Jesus was in the cosmic delusion of metaphysical Satan and was subjected to temptations of Maya like any other normal human being. The apostle relate that for 40 days and nights in the wilderness solitude Jesus was tempted of the devil. Jesus fought off and conquered the evil force with God as his sole witness. He prayed fasted to strengthen his mind and determination. He went into ecstasy and reaffirmed the identity of his soul as an awakened son of God. This reminds the sadhaks, this reminds the sadhaks that God has to be acquired by being pious and is not a cakewalk. Here Jesus was already a liberated soul, but has shown the path to others by virtue of his life as an experimenting field. In the state of Christ consciousness, one could feel his consciousness in each and every electron and atom. One who had attained this state identifies with God. Krishna and Jesus came on earth to give succor to the misery laden souls and show the spiritual path and solace. Jesus, like any other human being, suffered, wept, but with a determined will could become triumphant over Maya or delusion. And Jesus, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Get thee behind me, Satan. Luke 4 1 to 2 and 8. Each and every human being shall be succumbed to temptation. It is not his subjective mind, but also the objective Satan. One should be victorious over temptation. This is the sum of life. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behoves him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself has suffered being tempted, he is able to succor them that are tempted. Hebrews 2:16 to 18. For we have not high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Hebrews 4:15. Each and every godly man who has taken birth on earth has been subjected to severe tests so as to overcome human frailties. This is imperative to attain the final state of emergence in cosmic consciousness. Ordinary man may face subjective ideas subtly during him through prenatal and postnatal bad habits. In highly advanced souls, the Saturn may take objective form. He may even use vibratory voices in his desperate last attempt to dissuade the Godward fleeing master. Satan tempted Jesus to give up his unconditional divine state. Gautama Buddha was confronted by Mara. Mara appeared in the form of dancing girls. He was being compelled to give up his divine bliss in preference to sensual pleasures. When he vehemently denied, then he got the enlightenment. Satan took an objective shape, talked to Jesus. Satan promised him temporal happiness. Jesus should forsake God, but Jesus vehemently denied. The children of God are immortal, free from dependence and materiality. The cells of flowers, plants, animals, and human beings were intended by God to live recharged by cosmic energy. They are not intended to feed one another. Only Maya, or cosmic delusive force led by body consciousness, led to believe without physical sustenance, without physical sustenance, the existence would extinguish. Satan worked through the mind of Jesus, expressing a tempting proposition. Why don't you use your divine power to change stones into bread? Jesus had such power to change the rate of electronic vibration. Jesus took simple foods. He took them as God man, as a God man. He did not do it as a body's habit of physical hunger. Jesus did not come in the ambit of Satan and misused by his divine powers. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Jesus quoted the scriptural truth experienced in his fast and intense meditation. I have found the divine way of living by God the Father through the Holy Ghost as the fountainhead of all life, and will not again acknowledge dependence on physical bread. Man is sustained by Om, or word, or Amen. Om descends into the body through medulla oblongata, or the mouth of God. The eternal link between divine and inert human body is this word only. Radio frequency waves cannot be seen by naked eyes. Likewise, this omnipresent word cannot be seen. This word received through the mouth of God, that is medulla oblongata, is distributed throughout all the cells of the body. Solar energy is the source of sustenance directly or indirectly. When we take food, life energy in the body begins to work on digesting and metabolizing it. Scientists who find that the body cells operate with the solar energy radiation released through the chemical reaction of oxidation. The very construction of protoplasm is made possible by this solar radiation. Cosmic energy is the main source of life in man's body battery. In reality, the inner life energy is self-sufficient to solely support the body, but by and by man has become food addict and cosmic consciousness. An actor on the screen is nothing but radiation. Yoga is to be understood as a science of physical, mental, or astral and causal faculty. It is a conglomerate of ahankara or ego principle, that is I-ness, the consciousness or feeling and awareness chitta, the sense mind manas, consisting of five senses of knowledge, smell, taste, sight, touch, and hearing, and five senses of action, locomotion, manual skill, speech, elimination, and procreation, and discrimination, buddhi. From these principles comes out five life energies, the fivefold function of prana responsible for empowering the performance of the crystallizing, assimilating, eliminating, metabolizing, and circulatory activities of the body. Willpower draws cosmic energy into the body. Yoga says chanting I am in Muladhara Chakra shall increase the willpower. By chanting Muladhara Chakra more, shall draw more and more cosmic energy into the body. That is why Jesus said, not my will, but thine be done. By willpower of Ichha Shakti, by willpower or Ichha Shakti, man can recharge his battery cells. They are nothing but electrical globules. One should not let his will to live be paralyzed. One should not let his will to live be paralyzed. Then the disease and death becomes victorious. Paramahansa Yogananda says, one Therese Newman in Bavaria in 1935, she has lived without food for 12 years. But she looked as fresh as a flower. She used to be in Holy Communion every morning. Yoga is is an ancient science of Indian wisdom. The sadhaks have and use to master the energies that sustain the body. They could sustain cosmic energy even without oxygen and sunshine. Sadhu Haridas was buried alive for 40 days without any damage. He was pronounced dead, but the suspended life returned in his body. The suspended animation is necessary for demonstrating advanced psychophysiological laws. This unknowingness is not necessarily spiritually beneficial. This type of unconscious inside, unconscious outside, the type of unconscious inside and unconscious outside is like mental chloroform. This should be given up. Even animals are subjected to suspended animation. This should be avoided as it is metaphysical useless. As it is metaphysically useless. Meditation connects one's limited energy and consciousness with God the Father. When the cells are electrified with supercurrent, they cease their mutations of growth and decay. All bodily functions are stilled in deep samadhi meditations. Breath is of light and God thoughts. It can be manipulated and proved umpteen times by Mahavatar Babaji. Man can recharge his body with consciousness by periodical sleep or subconscious state. In sleep, man can temporarily become unaware of body and breath. Sleep will rejuvenate the body. Sleep will rejuvenate the body. Every night, man is a yogi in sleep. Yogi maintains proper diet and periodic fasting. This will condition the body. It makes the yogi to interiorize and quieten the mind. Kriya Yoga meditation transforms the body consciousness into astral and causal and then to God the Father. Jesus, Elijah, Kabir, etc. were the past masters of Kriya Yoga or similar technique. They could materialize or dematerialize their bodies at will. Jesus could recognize his past birth as Elisha. He could resurrect his crucified body. Jesus could recognize his guru, John, of his past birth as Elijah. There appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. 2 Kings 2:11. There were Jain Munis in India. They can fast for several days, a feat achieved after 2500 years. According to Jain gurus, Jain sadhu has undertaken the penance of Gunaratna Samvatsara Tapa, which is to undertake 407 fasts, 407 fasts in 480 days, but he extended it to 494 days and will complete 423 fasts in place of 407 fasts. Recently, one Jain monk completed 423 days of fasting sometime in 2019 June. My Parama Guru advocated the importance of vegetarian diet. Jesus did not accept Satan's suggestion to turn stones into bread. He has conquered his mortality by the divine memory of his self-sustaining, unconditional spiritual existence. With his option, he chose to live with or without food. Jesus did not want to utilize his miraculous powers to create food. This is what other saints also used to do. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city and settleth him on the pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall have his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest any time, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Again, the devil taketh him into an exceeding night. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then Jesus saith unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Matthew 4, 5 to 11. The esoteric meaning is as follows. The body and spirit of Jesus were tempted and taunted both subjectively and objectively by Satan. Satan subjectively creeps into the very thought process. The imagination of his would be captive. This is the strategy of Satan. Jesus was severely meditating and was in the holy city of his universal consciousness. He was on the pinnacle of temple, that is third eye, the place between eyebrows. Jesus never wanted to fall prey to satanic delusion of lower region of the spine, the lumbar, sacral and coccygeal plexuses. These are the planes of the senses with their bodily attachments. Satan tempted Jesus, I will give you kingdoms of power and wealth. Jesus refused the temptations of sensory and material gratifications with his self-mastery and spiritual joy. Jesus snubbed the devil's temptation and scorned its audacity to tempt the God in him. Jesus said to himself, "Oh, ye senses of smell, taste, sight, touch, and hearing, you were made to serve the Spirit devotedly and dissuade from sensory attractions, tooth and nail. Man is at the crossroads and standing in between Satan and God. It is for the man to decide himself as to what side he wanted to be attracted with his free will. Satan is on the left side with his kingdom of misery cloaked in ostentation. Ostentation. God is on the right side with his kingdom of happiness bathed in eternal light. God is very anxious to get us back to his kingdom that is free of suffering. Satan constantly deludes us through slavery sense pleasures. In highest samadhi state, the devil of delusive dualities exists from man's consciousness. That is why Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." That is why Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Luke 4:8. Jesus spoke from his realization, "I have chosen imperishable bliss. What care I for anything temporal?" Every master who has attained the realization of the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi feels the obsession of ignorance within him is completely annihilated. End of discourse.